Alex knew his father would live up to his threat. But in that moment, watching Obiefune rejoin his circle of admirers who followed him like devoted puppies, Alex found he simply didn't care. He watched Nonso glide to their father's side, only to receive a sharp, withering look that sent the poor boy scurrying back to wherever he'd come from. Why was their father so brutal to Nonso? Was this the price of becoming his successor? The endless humiliation and psychological warfare? Alex wanted no part of it. But then reality crashed over him like a cold wave. How on earth did his father expect him to ask out a girl he wasn't even attracted to? And if he was being completely honest, he had never actually asked anyone out before in his entire life. So perhaps it wasn't really his lack of attraction to Sharon that terrified him. It was the prospect of exposing his complete inexperience to her. And Jenny wasn't around to help navigate this minefield. For the first time in his 18 years of life, Alex actually longed for alcohol. He lingered in his corner, safely away from the crowd, trying desperately to summon the courage to find Sharon. But approaching her felt like voluntarily signing up for a geography course, and Alex hated geography. He hated what his father was demanding even more. Every time he tried to move, his feet felt like they'd been cast in lead. He rehearsed potential conversation starters in his mind, trying to craft the perfect opening line. They all sounded absolutely ridiculous. At that point, Alex began weighing his impossible options. Which would be worse, approaching her and saying something mortifyingly stupid, or not approaching her at all? If he embarrassed himself, Sharon could reject him, and his father would definitely hear about it. But if he didn't try at all, Obiefune would know that too. Which scenario would anger his father more? Both of them, spectacularly. Desperate for guidance, Alex quickly dialed Jenny's number. Of course, it went straight to voicemail. She'd probably already left the hotel entirely. How he envied her freedom. Why wasn't he born a girl? This was exactly the kind of ridiculous question that plagued him whenever he felt completely lost. So Alex conceded defeat. He braced himself for the inevitable consequences and decided to slip out of the party unnoticed. But as he turned toward one of the corridors to use a side exit, an elegant figure appeared and blocked his path. She stood, silhouetted against the light, her face hidden in shadow. Alex assumed she was just another guest trying to navigate the hotel. "Excuse me, please. I need to use this door." But she didn't move. And then, with growing intuition, Alex realized who this might be. Sharon? She laughed, a light, musical sound. Before Alex could say anything else, she reached for his hand and began pulling him toward an unfamiliar corner of the hotel. "Wait, where are we going?" But she simply shushed him with a finger to her lips. When they finally reached a balcony, she released his hand. The space was deserted but mercifully well lit. Alex could finally see her face clearly, and there was a distinctly mischievous glint in her eyes. "Hi," Alex managed, after realizing she was waiting for him to speak first. "Hi, Alex. I've been trying to get your attention in there." "Really?" This caught him completely off guard, and instead of playing it smooth, he blurted out, "Why's that?" Sharon frowned slightly, just barely, and only someone watching her face closely would have noticed. But then her brilliant smile returned. "I wanted to talk to you. Everyone in there is just obsessing over business, and I absolutely hate business talk." And then Alex caught the cue. Maybe he was slow when it came to romantic interactions, but his father's threat had certainly sharpened his survival instincts. Maybe, just this once, he would give Obiefune what he wanted. Just this once. "So what do you like talking about?" Maybe Alex was inexperienced in asking girls out, but he knew how to hold a decent conversation when he applied himself. He was, after all, Obiefune's son. Some talents were simply genetic. Sharon smiled shyly, and Alex settled against the balcony railing. preparing for what he assumed would be a lengthy, superficial chat. But he kept the conversation flowing naturally. They explored all sorts of topics, carefully avoiding the family dramas that defined both their lives. Surprisingly, Sharon wasn't nearly as shallow as Alex had expected. She had a degree in chemistry and was currently pursuing a second degree in chemical engineering. When he learned about her academic credentials, Alex felt intellectually tiny, despite his towering physical height.
She laughed at everything he said. Alex couldn't tell if it was because he was actually funny or if she was simply being polite, but it felt wonderful to have a stimulating conversation with someone his own age outside the university setting. Maybe his father's request wasn't completely terrible after all. And then Alex remembered that he still hadn't actually asked her out. He tried to think of the perfect way to phrase it, but his mind went completely blank. Where were those carefully rehearsed pickup lines when he needed them? However, he decided to try something. What did it matter if it didn't sound perfectly smooth? What will you be doing next weekend? The words tumbled out as nervous rambling, but at least they sounded like English. Sharon smiled, and Alex felt a wave of relief wash over him. I usually have my weekends completely packed with activities, but I could clear my schedule if given enough reason. Is lazily wandering around a mall with me and catching a movie or two reason enough?
Sharon dropped her business card into his palm, winked at him with practiced elegance, and sauntered away gracefully. That hadn't gone badly at all, Alex decided. He rubbed his forehead and was startled to discover it was beaded with sweat. Then he made the fatal mistake of glancing down from the balcony. His father stood below, staring up at him with that predatory, toothy grin. Alex froze completely. How long had Obiefune been watching? His father gave him an enthusiastic thumbs up and gestured for Alex to join him. Perfect. His pleasant evening was about to end in absolutely grand style. When Alex returned to the main hall, he discovered the party had ended and most guests had departed. His time out with Sharon must have lasted at least an hour. He hadn't realized they'd talked for so long. Usually, Obiefune was driven in his Jeep alone while the rest of the family traveled in their other vehicles with the drivers. But that evening, he specifically requested Alex's company. He dismissed his driver and took the wheel himself, forcing Alex to sit in the passenger seat beside him. I knew you weren't a coward, son, Obiefune roared with laughter while Alex rolled his eyes. So tell me, how did it go? How did what go? Don't try to be clever, boy. How did it go with the girl? Fine, Dad. I thought you said I'd come of age, so let me handle this my own way. Come on, son, I'm only trying to help. You know I have extensive experience in these matters. He laughed again, but Alex didn't share his humor. So, what's the plan?
What do you mean? This is the first time I'm meeting and talking to this woman. At your request, I might add. What elaborate plans do you think we could possibly have? Alex fought hard to control his rising emotions, turning away to focus on the scenery rushing past his window. Alex, this is absolutely critical and I don't want you to mess things up. I assume you asked the girl out, and I need to know where you're planning to take her. Well, I'm not entirely sure yet. I was thinking of taking her to the mall, maybe catching some good movies. Obiefune was utterly unimpressed. He slammed the brakes and the car lurched forward violently. If not for their seatbelts, both of them would have sported lovely lumps on their foreheads. Mall? Movies? Are you completely insane, son? His hands left the steering wheel entirely as he turned to glare at Alex as if his son had spontaneously grown horns. Alex thought something catastrophic had happened. What's wrong, Dad? You want to take the daughter of Chief Emeka to a mall? Have you lost your mind? I don't understand. Only little boys take little girls to that kind of place. What is wrong with you? Have I taught you nothing? Dad, I'm 18. I think I still qualify as a little boy. This was where Obiefune became theatrical. It didn't matter that they were stopped in the middle of a busy road with other drivers honking furiously around them. When Obiefune wanted to make a point, the entire world had to stand still and listen. "Listen to me," he commanded, brandishing his finger inches from Alex's face. "You are not just any boy. You are the son of Obiefune, and we are renowned for doing the spectacular. You cannot take a billionaire's daughter to a shopping mall. What is wrong with you?" "Okay, Dad. Where do you suggest I take her?" Obiefune smiled with satisfaction and returned his hands to the steering wheel. His foot released the brake and the car lurched forward again as they began racing along the road. "You have so much to learn, son. But don't worry. I will teach you everything I know." Alex wanted to retort that he had absolutely no interest in learning everything his father knew about women, but he knew better than to voice that particular sentiment. Alex assumed they were heading home, but instead, Obiefune drove to one of his guest houses. As expected, unknown faces of scantily clad women were everywhere, greeting them with warm welcomes as if they were long-expected guests. Alex walked on while his father stopped to chat with them, trying not to think too hard about what this place represented. When Obiefune finally joined him inside, thankfully alone, Alex found himself wondering, how did his father manage to run business and pleasure simultaneously at such a frantic pace while remaining sane? Alex found it difficult enough to juggle play and serious work without making a complete mess of both. Obiefune poured himself wine from the bar and offered Alex a glass, which he promptly declined. His father would have normally lashed out at this refusal, but he had more pressing matters to discuss. So he downed one glass entirely and carried a second to sit beside his son. The wine loosened Obiefune's tongue considerably, and Alex realized that the words flowing from his father's mouth would now be completely unfiltered. Obiefune began regaling him with detailed stories of his various romantic conquests.
At some point, Alex was fairly certain his father had forgotten he was talking to his son. Obiefune chuckled and kept talking, growing increasingly graphic with his narratives. What Alex did was strategically tune out during the most explicit parts and tune back in occasionally just to give the impression he was listening attentively. Alex must have dozed off for several minutes, he wasn't sure how long. But he jolted back to consciousness when he felt hands all over his body. What the hell? 3 women surrounded him. One was straddling his lap, the second was beside him with her hands all over his face, and the third was behind him doing heaven knows what. Meanwhile, his father was perched on a stool several meters away, wearing a stupid grin and swirling a wine glass in one hand. Alex shot to his feet, dislodging the woman who had made his legs her personal chair. What is this?
Despite his anger, Alex instinctively extended his hand to help the fallen woman to her feet. The 3 women then stood around awkwardly until Obiefune waved them away and they disappeared like ghosts. "Son, I needed to prepare you for the task ahead. I know you're inexperienced." "What task?" "You asked a girl out, remember?" "What does that have to do with you unleashing prostitutes on me?" Obiefune was too deep in his wine to register Alex's tone. "Unleashing?" He found this hilarious. "You've always had such a way with words, son." He carelessly dropped his empty glass on the edge of the table. It slipped and crashed against the tiled floor. One of the women poked her head in, but Obiefune waved her away. "You are a man, son. I don't want you giving Sharon the impression that you're inexperienced. That's why I arranged for those women. By the way, they're the finest in my collection." "Dad, stop. Please, stop. You're really going overboard right now." "Son, I'm trying to help you. Our legacy is on the line here. My legacy is on the line." "Legacy? Come on, Dad. All you want is to turn me into you. I am not you, and I don't need a herd of women hanging around me to prove I'm a man." "Boy, you will not make me a laughingstock in front of my business associates. I am a stud, and no son of mine will be seen as an inexperienced weakling. No, boy, I cannot allow you to soil my name like that. You are my son."
Unfortunately, I am. And with that devastating response, Alex walked out on his father to prevent himself from saying the other things burning in his mind. Everyone in the guest house stepped aside as Alex stormed through the den of iniquity. It wasn't until he reached the street outside that he could finally breathe properly again.
Standing on that dark street, Alex realized that tonight had changed everything. There was no going back to the way things were. The war for his soul had officially begun.